Hello everyone, this is Lucy05 and welcome to the Cobra Central Toy Review. And today I'm looking at the 2011 release by Hasbro of the G.I. Joe Pursuit of Cobra Velcro and action figure review. And today's Velcro and action figure review, looking at the Desert Battle H.I.S.S Scout and the figure, the H.I.S driver. Now I got this straight from eBay, and this one cost me at least $18 in eBay. Some people are actually selling this at least $20 to $25, and other people are actually, well, combining the set of the H.I.S.S Scout with the Cycle armor for $50 to $60. Now what's interesting to note is that this is a Canada exclusive H.I.S.S Scout with the H.I.S driver, because when it was released in 2011, it was not released in the US but in Canada instead. Hence why the packaging, as you can see here, contain different languages. So it was released in Canada, and then in only early 2012 this started to appear in Ross exclusives. Yes, Ross Malls put this as Ross exclusive for the H.I.S.S Scout and the Cycle armor as well, for $8.99. Of course, again, this set is pretty rare and pretty hard to get, and by the time when it was released, it's not actually packed in with a lot of the H.I.S.S Scout in the Ross malls. Only a small portion of the stock quantity actually packed there, and by the time most people knew about the release of these sets, it was long sold out, and majority of them has started to appear in eBay instead, and people are selling this quite expensive. Now let's take a look at the front portion of the packaging itself. Now this is a Desert Battle H.I.S.S Scout. As you can see, the open window there, the Velcro has been displayed there, and next to the Velcro is the H.I.S driver. In the background there is supposed to be some battlefield in the desert. Now the top section of the packaging itself is stated, like the previous smaller base Velcros, it also comes with a diorama background. So at the top corner here stated converts into a diorama for the background itself, which is very nice. On the side here we got an image of the H.I.S driver, everything here in different languages. We have one file card for the H.I.S driver in a different language. So does on this section here as well. We got a nice image of the H.I.S Scout driven by the H.I.S driver. Very nice artwork. At the bottom also another file card with different language, and this one is in English. So let's read up the file card for the Cobra H.I.S driver. You got a nice image of the Cobra H.I.S driver there. Now it's stated in the write-up. I'm going to bring this up a little bit closer and for it to focus. Cobra H.I.S tank drivers are the most highly trained and aggressive drivers in the Cobra ranks. They have to be. They are the controls of the most sophisticated and destructive ground weapons in the world, and it's their job to unleash the full fury of these vehicles. Mission equipment: tactical high energy pulse cannon with fully rotational target optimizer. Very nice. Now at the back portion of the packaging itself, at the top section there, also in different languages, we have a very small write-up stating, let the camera focus a little bit, H.I.S Scout vehicles are lightweight machines that race over rough terrain and clear the way through minefields and defensive barriers. Very nice. Here we have the full image of the H.I.S Scout with the H.I.S driver in the Desert Battle diorama, which is very nice in the desert diorama there. Here we have the Velcro itself. Now one of the features also listed out in different languages stated cannons rotate and elevate, and here we have the figure, and here at the bottom corner here stated working tank treads. Very nice. So without further ado, let's open up this packaging so we can molest the toys. Be right back. And we're back after removing the figure and the rest of the stuff out from the packaging. So let's take a look at the H.I.S driver. Now I'm not going to put too much time onto the H.I.S driver itself, because this figure is basically a repaint, and the only few differences on this besides the color for this figure is that this figure doesn't come with any base stand at all, and that's about it. The figure is still the same repaint from the 25th anniversary line of the H.I.S.S driver, and he even comes with a small little pistol accessory that's placed into the gun holster itself. So everything here has no change at all. Basically a total repaint, and the worst part is this is the 4th repaint of a H.I.S.S driver, because we already have the original H.I.S.S driver that came in the 25th anniversary line of a single colored version. This is the original red colored H.I.S.S driver, and then we have the H.I.S.S Commander, which is, it came from the H.I.S.S vehicle and is in blue colors with, of course, the leg armor parts in silver. The chest armor is in dark red, and for the original H.I.S.S, the chest armor is in dark blue. Now there's the 3rd H.I.S.S driver, which is the Crimson H.I.S.S driver that came from the Ultimate Battle Pack, also from the 25th anniversary line. That battle pack would include the Crimson H.I.S.S, the Mobat, the Trouble Bubble, which is in blue. That has a lot of vehicles, and the set itself is really huge. So this is by far, well, another same figure which is already repainted by the 4th time. We're not going to count the H.I.S.S version 5's H.I.S.S driver because it uses different body parts. Now let's take a close look at the figure's paint job. You will notice the figure's paint job is rather dark in colors. Now it's primarily in black and really dark blue colors, and a bit of silver paint job for the Cobra logo. Now the torso, the waist, the upper bicep, and the lower arms are made of a really dark blue plastic material color. The lower arms there, the wrist guard there, of course, is painted in black, and the hands, of course, are made of a black plastic material color. The chest armor and the straps at the back there are all painted in black. Silver paint job on the Cobra logo there. The entire head is made of a black plastic material color, but the visor is actually painted to make it look very glossy. The thighs, knees, lower legs, and of course the boots itself, including the pistol and the holster and the belt itself, are made of a black plastic material color. The thigh section here is painted in, well, really dark blue, and that's about it. What I really don't understand is why choose such a dark colors. Now I am actually liking the idea of the dark blue and black combination of colors, but the dark blue here that they chose is close to almost black if you look it from a far distance. As you can see there, it's like a total black character. Well, a total black painted character here, which is really hard to see the details except for the Cobra logo on the chest there. Even the head is all in black color. So I really don't like this kind of paint job. At least give the figure a little bit more color, like, you know, a lighter dark blue in color, and at least paint the head a little bit like, well, dark blue in color as well, a lighter dark blue, so you get to see the head in detail. At least the other H.I.S.S driver colors are much more, well, better in color wise compared to this one. This one is just simply way too dark to see anything. Articulation is still the same as the previous H.I.S.S figures. There are no changes at all. So if I'm gonna give a rating to this figure, I say I give it a 3 out of 10, because the colors itself is really dark and you're hardly able to see the nice details. Furthermore, do we even need another H.I.S.S driver? Especially this is by far the 4th repaint of the figure already. So yes, 3 out of 10 for his driver himself. Next up, let's take a look on the background. Now this background has already been folded in. This is from the inside of the packaging itself. Now inside the packaging, it does come with a small little instruction manual on how to fold the diorama, and also, as you notice, it comes with different languages. On the other side, it's all black. Now this diorama background here is actually quite nicely done. We have here a desert background with mountains and 3 explosion areas, as you can see there. Quite nicely done. We don't normally get the desert diorama actually, so this is quite nicely done. For those who really like to make dioramas, they can use this for background. Very nicely done. On the other side is all cardboard, so nothing that special. So there you have it for this diorama base itself. Let's take a look at the H.I.S.S Attack Scout vehicle. Be right back. And we're back, and this time we'll take a look at the H.I.S.S Attack Scout. Now the whole entire vehicle has been placed with all the sticker labels, but first things first, let's take a look at the instruction manual that came along with it. Yes, it does come with a small little instruction manual, a very small piece, as you can see here. And you will notice that the front page here actually shows you, well, how to place the figure into the vehicle itself, and the only assembly that you need to do is plugging the twin, well, machine gun or whatever weapon that is, plugged onto the vehicle itself. But the moment you remove this out from the packaging itself, it's already plugged in. Of course, there are some plastic that surrounds the entire weapon itself that you need to unplug it, but plugging it back in is quite easy anyway. On the other side here, again, it shows you on how to place the figure into the H.I.S.S Attack Scout. Now the other side of the instruction manual here, it shows you on where to place the sticker labels. Speaking of the sticker labels, there's a total of 13 pieces of sticker labels, which is by far very little amount. So let's take a look at the vehicle itself. Here we have the H.I.S.S Attack Scout, and again, majority of parts, well, the whole body is made of a dark blue plastic material color, but there are also some paint job inside, but we'll go to that later. The wheels are actually made of a black plastic material color. The rubber threads here is actually made of a black plastic material color. And we have this piece here, this joint is actually made of a, I would say, more towards a metallic grey plastic material color. And then the entire gun itself, the double barrel cannon here, or Vulcan cannons or whatever, is made of a red plastic material color with a bit of paint job. As you can see here, the side of the shields itself is painted in a metallic paint job there. Metal paint job on each side of the shield itself. Inside of the vehicle, the parts itself is also painted in a metallic paint job as well. Very nice. Of course, the side of the threads itself, all these parts are all painted. And for the wheels, the red parts are actually painted. Very nice. Bottom section is, well, nothing. Now, let's take a look at the mode of this vehicle. Now, the mode of the vehicle is rather interesting. First things first, this entire gun itself, as I mentioned, is easily detachable and reattached. This entire mode is nothing new. This came from the Pursuit of Cobra Arctic Thread Ice Cutter. Ice Cutter actually has the same weapon itself. So it basically you plug in onto this hole here, like so. So the mode of this design is nothing special. You can turn 360 degrees of it. You can point the gun all the way down like so, aiming at the driver for no apparent reason, or aim straight, or aim all the way up. Very nice articulation there. Now, at the back portion of the vehicle, there's a smaller platform for a figure to, well, stand onto. But again, there is no handles on the weapons itself, so I'm not too sure why would any figure would want to stand there, considering that they can't actually, well, use the machine guns itself, and there's no handles for them to hold on to for, well, for some safety reasons, as you can see there. Furthermore, the peg at the platform itself is situated directly in the middle, so when you place a figure there, he actually stands, well, like so, with one leg sticking out. So I'm not too sure why anyone wants to do that. Even when you try to close the legs in, it looks kind of dangerous for any soldier trying to stay at that platform. Now, let's take a look at the other details for this vehicle. Here we have the cockpit of the, well, his attack Scout, and there is no cover at all. Not too sure why they design, well, for Hasbro to design a vehicle like this with no cover, which is an open cockpit. I figure then sit inside that, and there's two handles there, and the handles are quite solid piece. It is not made of a soft plastic material, plastic, so it doesn't bend all over the place. You can place a figure inside. The problem is that when you try to place a figure inside, it also has a problem for the figure to hold onto the joysticks, because it's quite difficult to maneuver the hand to slide in and hold the joysticks because it's extremely tight. But the inside of the details is actually quite nicely done. As you can see there, a lot of rivets, platings there. Strange that they have a lot of platings and rivets on, well, the sides of the vehicle, but it will leave the driver completely exposed. At the side of the tread itself, we have the wheels. Inside the wheels, there's also the screws itself and also rivets. Here we have some platings as well, and some pistons as well, shown on the inside of the treads itself. Very nicely done. This entire tread is made of a rubber tread. Very nice. The mold of the treads itself is quite nicely done. Quite similar to the H.I.S.S tank version 5, but actually it's not. It's not similar at all. It's a totally different mold, which is not bad. Very nice. Now, the vehicle can also roll quite well too. As you can see there, very nice. But due to the vehicle sitting inside the packaging for so long, and you notice the rubber treads is a bit warped thanks to the shape being stuck onto inside the packaging for quite some time. Now let's place a figure inside the cockpit itself. As I mentioned before, the figure is quite difficult to have the figure wield the joystick for this H.I.S.S tank, this H.I.S.S attack Scout, because it's quite tight inside. There's no way for you to maneuver the hand to hold the joystick. But you can place the figure inside quite well, leaving the figure quite well exposed from the front. In the packaging, it's also mentioned that the H.I.S.S attack Scout is meant for also not only for scouting, but clearing the way of mines. I'm not too sure how they manage, well, how this vehicle is gonna do something like that. I don't think they are that fast enough to avoid an explosion. As you can see, there's also another hidden feature that is not explained in the instruction manual. Now, there are two empty slots on each side of the H.I.S.S tank. As you can see, the H.I.S.S attack Scout. I kept saying H.I.S.S tank. There's two empty slots on one side here, and also the other side. Now, to those who knew about this feature already, but to those who don't, this is actually meant to connect the back section of the rear end of the H.I.S.S tank version 5 to elongate and making the vehicle, well, as an intimidating land battleship. Problem is that there are some flaws. So I'm gonna place the H.I.S.S attack Scout on one side, because next to me is the H.I.S.S tank version 5, as you can see here. Now, you will notice bottom section at the rear end of the H.I.S.S tank version 5. This is the tabs itself that has been exposed. So all you have to do is slide in this piece like so. And there you have it. It locks onto the back section of the H.I.S.S tank version 5. Now the problem is that the idea is sound. You will have a H.I.S.S tank version 5 connecting a smaller Scout vehicle to make the vehicle, the whole entire vehicle, as a very long, intimidating vehicle. It's actually not bad of an idea. Problem is that the rear end of this piece here is so tall, so you can see that I'm trying to, because the back portion is quite back heavy. If I let go, it's just gonna flop. So I'm just trying to hold it like so. This is a straight elevation here, and this vehicle is already attached onto the back portion of the H.I.S.S tank version 5. You can see it's just hanging on the top like so, and if I let go, it will just loosen up this portion here, the one that connects to the threads itself. So there's a problem there. Other versions who actually have a strong connector point will cause the entire vehicle to, well, from the front portion of the vehicle itself to elevate up a little bit, because the back portion is way too back heavy. So the front threads itself starts to elevate in this rather silly way. But for my version, because the connector point is not really strong enough, basically the whole entire vehicle looks actually not bad. Though the idea is poorly executed actually. Now, what's nice to know about this is that it's actually quite intimidating in size when you connect the H.I.S.S Attack Scout to the H.I.S.S tank version 5. Problem is that, well, the original design is not really well thought out. Furthermore, if you connect this at the back and you leave it like so, you also weaken the joints for this H.I.S.S tank version 5, especially on the connector point itself, if it stays connected. But actually, it's actually not bad. When you roll the vehicle, all the wheels do move, well, somewhat, as you can see, because it does, at the back portion doesn't actually touch the ground, so it doesn't roll very well. The rubber threads is rather hard to roll at times. So I'm just gonna roll it back first. It's actually not bad of the design there, but poorly executed. Then you can actually detach this entire piece and let it be like so. Now, the whole entire idea concept for the H.I.S.S Attack Scout is actually there. It's just not really well executed. I really don't like a vehicle where the cockpit is actually exposed, leaving the driver unprotected at all. Though I really like rubber threads there, but I cannot see why anyone would want to pay $50 for this, because the design is not really, well, practical, not very conventional, and somewhat quite silly at some times too. For a small little vehicle, I would say, if I'm gonna give a rating out of this, the connecting point is rather a disappointment. It would work on some certain points, but most of the time it just don't seem to work very well, because it's either way too tall for this, or when you connect it and you leave the back portion, well, hanging, or you're just gonna lift the H.I.S.S tank version 5 from the front, elevate upwards to make it look even more silly than it is. Furthermore, you have a H.I.S.S tank version 5 which is in black color, and this one is in dark blue, so it doesn't correspond the colors very well. So if I'm gonna give a rating on this, I'm just going to give it a 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10 for the H.I.S.S Attack Scout, because, well, the idea is that it's just not really well executed, and I really like rubber threads. It's actually a nice little, small little vehicle, as long as you're not paying $50 for it, or $25 for this piece here, because it's not really well worded. The peg at the back portion of the platform itself, there's the peg itself that's situated in the middle portion, that makes it really awkward when you place a figure there, because one leg is hanging outwards. There's also a problem with the figure, and, well, pretty hard to have the figure hold the joysticks, because there's so tight and little space there. Again, I mentioned before, open cockpit, it just looks quite silly. So 6 out of 10 for the H.I.S.S Attack Scout. And I thank everyone for watching this video. This is Lucy05, and I'm signing off.